way. And to piggyback off Armand, basically we are here to help you and we all want to work cohesively together. I know we get a bad rep because we're about the money, and so a lot of the students think anytime that we're contacting them is for something negative, but it's not. I'm glad that we're having this because I want to explain to you all what some of the purposes on why we email, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We send these things called red slips, or they may be pink or purple or blue or whatever color, and we'll come down and we'll actually pull the student as well. Usually we don't do any of those until it's become to the point to where the student is dodging us. And what we try to relay to the student initially in orientation is that when we are calling you or we're contacting you about something, it may not always be negative, but our number one job is to make sure that they're financially okay to sit in that class. And so a lot of times they automatically think, oh, I didn't do this, or something's going to do, whatever the case may be. But what they don't realize is the longer they dodge us, the worse the balance gets, and then the worse position they put in themselves. Because if, for instance, they stop coming, they don't post, and they get dropped for attendance purposes, then they're still left with that balance that we somehow have to convey to them that you still owe to Brown Mackie. So I'm just here to kind of say that when we are reaching out to you all, it usually be coming to the last result, because what we initially try to do is either call the student prior to them even being on campus to say, come see us first before you go to class, or we try to catch them prior to them even enrolling, so that way we get them before orientation or at orientation, so we're not disturbing the classroom. But when it becomes to the fact that, they've avoided us, we have no other choice but to come and make sure that the paperwork is done. So if you do see us emailing and we've said don't let them sit in the class before, it's for the purpose of they're behind on something. Okay. And I get reports and emails and all these different things about why is the student not packaged. And a lot of times it's not us not doing our job, but we can't just, go literally and grab the student if they're not here on campus. So we run into some of those things. So we need your support on that back end to make sure that we let them know it's not always negative, but if they are contacting you, we need you to go see them. Because again, if they're not able to fund what they're actually doing, which is sitting in class and getting the information that they need, then they can't sit in that class. You can't sit for 2 and 3 classes and not pay for them. So as Armand stated, we are broken down into letter groups. We have Patrick Curitan, who is our newest FA advisor, and he has L through R, and he also has the letter B. And then you have Elena Long, who does she does A and D through K. And then you have Sharon Washington, who is probably the longest advisor we've had here. She's S through Z, and then she also has the letter C. If you see any of these people or myself, because if they've done it and they still can't get the student, I'll sometimes intervene. If you see any of us emailing you or coming out to the class, and we usually don't try to interrupt as well, it's for that purpose. And we're just needing the student to make sure that we've done all of those things and communicated. And we're going to try to work with them the best way. We also work with student accounting. That's when they owe the financial part of cash payments, or, they need to make anything transform with that. If it's not federal funds, we also will help pull them, because sometimes it coincides with what we do when it comes to financial aid. So just, basically saying that we're here to help as well. We want to help you. If there's anything that we can do, to get the student on task, we're going to be there for that as well. Another standpoint from academics that is fairly new is the ANAs, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows what that is, active not attending. Anytime that any students are either wanting to do that or an academic advisor suggests that they do it, we want them to come see us initially, because we're the ones who actually determine whether or not it's the correct spot and time, and then we talk about money-wise as to say, you will have this balance, you will not have this balance, or this amount will be paid. So that kind of goes hand in hand with that as well. And we also have to see them when they come back. And I know that may not necessarily be the teacher's part, more of the chairs, but we get them back in and make sure money continues to pay. And then we also have to bring them out of ANA status, because if they're not in active status, it hinders reports that we have and the money paying as well. Another part would be any drops, any people that if they're in, let's say like OTA and they're cohorted and they end up just having to be dropped because they didn't pass a class. We also like to speak with them before they leave, just to let them know what their balance is, or if anybody wants to sit out for another purpose, we like to speak with them to make sure that they understand that they will have to pay back whatever that amount is. So it's just communication, making sure that everybody's on the same page, everybody knows whose job is what, and making sure that we deliver what we're supposed to deliver and do it in a timely manner, so that way the repercussions are not as bad. They know what their responsibility is, because our number one thing is going to be financial literacy and making sure they understand their financial responsibility. Because we all know at the end of the day they're going to be mad at us, not y'all, because they're going to say something about money. So we just want to make sure we're servicing them, giving them exactly what they need, getting the correct paperwork and getting it done on time, and having everything in order. So, questions, concerns? Yes, sir.
When you throw the red slips in the instructor's box,
Mm-hmm.
is there somebody there in the evenings or when the student goes down to find someone about?
The rest, yeah, we're here till
Okay.
8.
Good.
Monday through Thursday, we're from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, everybody's here 8 to 5. And then sometimes we work like every Saturday, maybe like once a month. But yeah, somebody is here till 8 p.m. And if we're not there, they can always, like say for instance, they don't get here till 7 or something, tell them to give us a call. We usually try to give them, like if we email them, our contact information and different things of that nature. So we're there pretty much all the time.
Okay. Would you prefer that someone walk them down?
I would, only because a lot of times they don't tell the truth and they don't come see us. But I do understand that you are teaching a class, so I get that.
Okay.
But I would say if we send an email and we say specifically we need the student, that means that this person has really been aware. If it's just a red slip, more than likely we're probably just getting past that step of trying to call them and get them at orientation, so it may not be that big of a deal.
Okay.
So.
Sometimes we have gotten the red slip.
Mm-hmm.
The student comes in and we hand it to them and they say, well, I've already been in. How do we know whether they've been in or not?
I always, when they come, sign and date the bottom.
But what if I've still got the red slip,
And
but
they
they
come,
stop by to see you? We don't know whether they're telling
That's
the truth
true.
or not.
If you want to verify that, either you can shoot me an email and I'll respond to you, or if you want us to, if we talk to them, maybe write on a sticky, was seen by XYZ person, we can do that. Because sometimes that does happen. We'll have called and sent a red slip, and they'll come see us before they go to class. So that's possible that it happens. But if you want to just reach out and say, I sent this person down, or they said that they came to see you, did they really?
Right, and when you emailed them, you said walk the student there.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
these are probably students, like last week we sent out a slew of emails for May starts. And that means that their academic year of 9 months is over, and they start a new academic year starting in May, and we know that classes started May 4th, and today is May 19th. So we're a little bit behind. So these are students we've been trying to get since April,
Okay,
actually, because we try to
okay.
get them prior to when the money runs out.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's it's a number of students we've been sending out, but these are the problem students that we've been trying to get to.
So would it be helpful for the teachers if the department chair would stop by?
Yes, because Drew is really good. If you all are busy, he'll walk them down. So yeah, department chair. I understand the teacher is teaching,
Right.
or get Drew, or somebody just to assist with that.
And then
Yes.
the evenings, Monday it's Hunter, Tuesday it's me,
Okay,
Thursday it's Mauricio.
that'll be fantastic. That way, if we can, if we can keep that relationship going, what they will learn is that they need to start going before somebody has to get to that point. And that way, we'll be all on the same page, because a lot of times, students have said, the teacher didn't give the red slip, or, different things of that nature. And I know that we have a lot of new adjuncts, so they don't know what this is and don't know how important it is. So I just wanted to, kind of get that out there, that it is an important part, because at the end of the day, the student is financing their education, and if they're not signing the documentation we need or doing the stuff we need, there's a problem.
Can each person who's sending that sheet out put his or her email address on there so we can contact you and say that student has not been here for the last 2 days?
Definitely. I can add that.
Otherwise, we don't have the time to look up your email addresses and things. If we had that, we could say, not here today.
Okay. And I would appreciate that. Yeah, I can definitely add that.
And what about non-POGs? Do they have to pay you back?
No.
Pay back a lot?
No, actually, any non-POGs, we
That's-
actually back
and
them
that's-
out.
Non-what?
No proof of graduation.
Yeah.
that they didn't
Sorry, we use a lot of
graduate.
acronyms.
Yeah.
Yeah, a student, well, you know, to enter our school, they have to either have a GED or a high school diploma.
Okay.
They give us 3 months to find out whether or not that is true for each student that you all teach. If within those 3 months we find out that they don't have an actual high school diploma or GED, we do what's called back them out, meaning we erase them like they never ever started. They go into a cancel status, and all of the funding that they were charged for gets backed out to 0. So they're not responsible because they never really should have started to begin with.
And so for us, since we're cohorted, what happens when one fails a class or they withdraw and they have to wait 6 months before they start again? What happens to their?
Financial aid. It's different per student, which is why we always tell you to let them come see us. Sometimes it falls perfect, other times it's horrible, you know, as far as what's going to be sent back and what's kept. And what we try to do when we initially are packaging a student is advise them to let them know, you know, when, because how we do it are terms, and everything goes 3 months at a time for us. So if within those terms they end up dropping out of a class, what that does is it financially impacts what they can keep. So I really can't give a you know, definitive answer, but I would just say if you're concerned or if they're getting ready to drop, or you know even before, say for instance next week, before the actual end of the month, you can send them down and we can say, okay, this will stay, this will not stay, and this is around what you possibly will owe, and then we'll kind of get with them after everything has been done with the withdrawal process. Any other questions, concerns?
Thank you.
For your time.
Thanks for coming. Make sure you sign on the sign-in sheet.
Sign in the sheet.